What if ads wasn't just about chasing attention, but about responding better when the right people are already interested? In today's episode, Neil Shoney MacLean breaks down the exact ad system he's used behind his six-figure months in 13 different coaching niches and consulting niches, and explains how to adapt it to your offer, your price point, and your audience without burning trust or removing the human element, which I think is super important. Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyan, your host, lead machine coach, and the founder of the Lead Machine Marketing Group. And I'm dedicated to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream life. And so whether you're just starting out or you want to take your business to the next level, let's get this conversation started. Shoney MacLean. He's got an old family nickname he'll tell us about. He's an ads strategist and trusted expert for coaches and consultants who want a simple, scalable Facebook ad system that consistently attracts premium clients. Don't we all want that? With over 13 years of experience in helping nearly 3,000 coaches across more than 60 niches, Neil, he distills complex advertising into clear, repeatable frameworks, including his proprietary 255 method that support predictable trust-based client acquisition. Both of us are suffering from a cold, so we're a little hoarse. We apologize for that. Why this matters to me, though, a lot of listeners know ads could help them grow, but they don't want hype, complexity, or systems that feel disconnected. And it seems like a complex things that people just don't want to touch, and they don't know where to start. So I'm hoping that Neil is going to show how ads can support the conversions and build trust, sustainable growth by meeting people where they already are and keeping the human element intact, which really reflects the heart of speed, which is where we respond quickly and we build trust once that traffic arrives at our websites. So let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Neil. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me, Paul. Thank you so much for bringing me on to this great show.
Yeah, you bet. So I asked you before the show where Shoney came from, and I actually accidentally sent him an email because I have three Neils in my database, and there was a Neil MacLean. Is it MacLean or MacLean?
MacLean, yeah.
MacLean, yeah. And I accidentally sent him your episode is live message, and then there's a Neil Shoney, and I go, gosh, wait a minute. And so tell us a little bit about that. We want to hear where Shoney came from.
It's one of those ones in Scotland, way up in the Highlands, where there's more sheep and cows than there are human beings. Everybody knows everybody within about a 30-mile radius. And there's these family nicknames that everybody has. And they go back about 100 years, but nobody really knows where they came from or what they actually mean. I even saw my grandfather was in the newspaper. He was a pretty good soccer player. And we've got like a newspaper article from about 70 years ago or something. And it says Donald Shoney rather than his real name, which is Donald MacLean. So we don't know what it means, but I've adopted it.
That's cool. That's great. And that's cool that you have a dad with a new father with that soccer football history. My grandfather has a football history as well.
Oh,
so
yeah?
That's cool.
That's great.
So you've helped clients generate six-figure months across many different coaching and consulting niches. What are the core principles that make this work across so many different markets? There must be some sort of magic.
Yeah, the thing is that you'll see from most people when it comes to ads, it's this whole, there's only one way to grow a coaching business with ads in 2026. You'll see it over and over and over again. There's only one way, one system. The way that we've done it for the last 11 years differently is that we actually have 37 different ad frameworks, and we cherry pick the right ones for each individual that we work with. And really what I mean by that is where we send them. And that's where you come into the way that you do things and how you turn a lead into a client. But if you, for instance, work with, let's say you work with women between the ages of 35 and 45 and you help them lose 10 pounds. In that type of demographic, with that type of product style, If you wanted to run a 5-day challenge, for instance, as a way to bring in strangers, build no trust quickly, and turn them into clients on the other side, that's a great model. 5-day challenges work really well in that space. If you want to work specifically with couples who are on the verge of divorce, a 5-day challenge is not a place where
Mm,
they want to be seen by other people. So saying there's only one way to grow a coaching business through ads in 2026 is just fundamentally wrong. The structure of how to run a great ad campaign can be the same, but where you send them, the conversion
hmm.
event needs to be specific to you, your market, what you want to sell, at which price points. Those things are really important.
And so how do you uncover that ideal place to, you got 37 frameworks, right?
Yeah.
So how do you pull that? A lot of coaches don't know that's the secret right there. They don't know. Oh yeah, running challenges, run 5-day challenges is a great way to build trust and blah blah blah, and they don't convert. How come?
Yeah.
Why doesn't my thing convert?
There's a few different things that we'll take into account whenever we're onboarding somebody and deciding which ad strategies is going to be a good fit for them. One is, who do you want to work with? And does this product or does this way of running ads actually fit that type of demographic? Like some
Hmm.
demographics are direct and straight to the point. They can almost like skip some elements of known trust. They just want the details quickly and they're going to make a like a snapshot decision. Other markets, they take a lot more node trust building, and then you might look at 5-day challenges, paid challenges, live masterclasses, things that really immerse people and allow you to connect with them. And then in some other cases, it will be, like I say, very hands off or something that can be much more evergreen, like lead magnet funnels and things like that. So who you want to work with is a part of it, but the other thing is you as well. Because out
Hmm.
of the 36 or 37 different ad frameworks, we've got a new one, so that's why it's 37 really. It's not that there's only one that can work for you. It's that there's probably a handful that can work for each demographic. But another really important layer is you as an individual. What can you see yourself doing long term? Because you don't want to do an ad strategy and just get a spike of clients right now, and then it's not something that becomes very repeatable for you. So, for instance, if you like live delivery, if you like speaking, if you like immersing with people, then things like live masterclasses and challenges and public speaking and different things like that are great models. If you hate going live and you hate delivering live, and the idea of having to do so would make you anxious for 2 weeks in the run up, you don't want to be
Hmm.
running a live masterclass every 2 weeks for the rest, pardon me, for the rest of your coaching life. You would want
Yeah.
something that's a little bit more evergreen in nature. So
Hmm.
it comes down to you as well. And then the third thing, the third overlapping part is, what do you want to sell and at what price point? Because for instance, things like, it sounds like I'm talking about 5-day challenges a lot, even though it's actually one of the less common ones these days. But 5-day challenges, for instance, are incredible at selling low price products and group models. They can sell premium products as well. It just attracts sometimes a little bit of a demographic that are more looking for that stepping stone towards your more expensive products. And so
Hmm.
if somebody comes to me and they say, I've got a 15K offer, for instance, a 5-day challenge probably isn't going to be their thing, because the 5-day challenge is less likely to bring the people that are going to be ready to buy the 15K product. We typically find that things like conversation into call into close work better for people that are selling at that price point. So there's a few things that come into play in choosing the right system.
Do you think it's because of the in a challenge, the lack of that conversation that's not going on? It is more of a cohort you're building. There is really no one-on-one. Maybe on Thursdays you might have the Q&A session that would be live, but that's very funneled and very controlled from the challenges that I've met. Is that the difference, you think?
That with a 5-day challenge, it not
Versus
being.
versus versus the call, have a conversation and convert
Yeah,
for the
that's
higher
part of
ticket.
it. When we get people to do 5-day challenges, we'll usually try and encourage them to go live all 5 days. And
Mhm.
some people choose not to because they say, look, that's not sustainable for me as a repeatable process. And I get that. So we try and bring in some live elements rather than full live. But full
Mhm.
live, builds more know and trust, and it typically converts better, regardless of the product you want to sell. But yeah, when you speak to people, let's just say it's through messages or through messenger ads, and you're in a conversation with them off the back of them applying or registering to find out more, just that opportunity to ask them questions, find out what they're really struggling with, be able to empathize with them, and present the call as the next logical step rather than simply saying, hey, do you want to book a call to discuss Facebook ads? It builds a lot of knowledge and trust before the call even happens. Which is why when people book in calls manually, it typically has a higher show rate than any other model.
Gotcha. Yeah. I like that. So there's so much going on with AI today, with outreach as well as with having those conversations. Are you finding people are using AI to help jumpstart those conversations from your ads?
Yeah,
And
we've
how does
got a
that
few
work?
people that are using AI entirely for the conversations now. It's not something that I do personally. I just don't feel that I just don't have the level of trust with it, number one. The second
Yeah.
thing is, I'm in such a high skepticism market, as are you. So anything around business, marketing, support, financial, whatever it is, if it's anything around that, it's very high skepticism. And so
Hmm.
I try to avoid anything in my own systems, in my own marketing that does anything to break that. And so the idea of anything coming across as AI is just a no-go for me. So even like I said about live masterclasses, I run a live masterclass once a month. It's 3 hours long. It's
Wow.
live, and we literally help people create ads from scratch. It's not a presentation. So
Ah,
my whole thing is about getting past that, not having any trust being broken. And I feel that AI is one of those ones that even if it's only 5% of people, if 5% of people that got into a conversation with me thought this is AI, that would not only be catastrophic for me in terms of business, but I actually just think that that would not allow me to sleep well at night.
yeah, I think being transparent about what you're using it for is important.
Yeah.
So yeah, th- you can use AI on the back end to for delivery
Oh
of
yeah.
things, which helps you scale, and you can use it to respond quickly. You can use it workflows and automation. We've been doing
Oh,
that
don't get me
for
wrong.
years.
I love AI
Yeah,
for so many reasons in terms of and speed of response. So first message, we will very often automate the first message so that
yeah,
speed of response is minimized as much as possible. Because as the faster you get to the lead, the higher the percentage chance of them becoming a client. But
right,
in terms of if somebody's in Instagram, I don't want to train AI to pretend that they're speaking to me.
right.
I would be open to utilizing AI in a way in which it's like you're speaking to, I don't know, Shoney bot right now.
This is
Yeah, so it could be something like that. But personally, I wouldn't utilize it to pretend to be me.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Like I said, for me, transparency is and authenticity is really high on my moral scale of values. And I'm glad that you have that same thing. But yeah, AI is here and we love it and we can do a lot with it. I was just wondering if people were using it in that way. And what I was talking about was conversational AI to actually have a conversation. And it does do pretty well.
Hmm.
But when you're spending dollars on ads, you want to make sure that if you got a person on the line who's is in your DM, you're going to want to respond to that or have your team respond to that and
Yeah.
have that question, have those things, build that relationship in real time because you just the human touch is human in the loop is what I call it is super important.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the automation in the world is great, but you still have to have a human in the loop.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. So, from what your experience, what's the real difference strategically and operationally between a coach making around 10K a month and consistently doing 100K a month with ads? What's the big difference?
If they're making 10K a month with ads, first of all, it typically means that they've found a system that can create a return, right? So
Hmm.
that's checkbox number one. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Literally the difference between coaches that are making 10K a month that they can attribute back to ads and the coaches that are making over 100K a month that they can attribute back to ads is literally how aggressive they are with scaling. I've seen
Mhm.
so many coaches and consultants and course creators that they want to get ads up and running. So they get ads up and running. Then they achieve, it might be an 8x return. It may be a 12. It might be a 22x return. But the next time they run ads, let's say they spent $500, they go, that went really well. Do you think I should spend $600 this time? And the way that I would look at it instead, and it's not that they're doing anything wrong, it's just what I've got the confidence in this because I've seen it so many times. But
Yeah.
my way of looking at it is, okay, you spent 500 and you got, let's say, $8,500 back off the other side of it. Great return. Okay, the next time let's spend $2,500
Yeah.
and let's make 22 grand. And if that works again, then the next time we do it, let's spend 7.5 grand. And
Yeah.
so it scares people, the idea of spending, let's say, 10 grand a month on your ads, but nobody should be doing it before it's a proven process at a smaller spend. But when the small
Yeah.
spend has a great return, literally you're in a position where you can almost choose how fast you wish to grow at that stage.
Yeah. And then there are, of course, there's on the back end, and I've been in the IT field for 40 plus years. And so the delivery of service is what trips people up from scaling. So they might not be able to spend 2,500 because they can't deliver the service. So they need to work on their back end. But once you've got that system that's building consistently, bringing in those leads, then you can say, okay, what's breaking? What's preventing me from going? What systems do I need to have in place? What resources do I need? A VA? Do I need an assistant? Do I need closers and callers and schedulers to do, or AI bots to help me to systematize how I deliver my service? And that's really where scaling and spending more money on your ads can really help you scale, is that lack of systems or building the systems.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yeah.
you were talking at the start as well about attracting people who are already almost there.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned it, it's on my mind. I just think it's like valuable for your audience to think about this as well, especially when we're talking about the difference between 10K months and 100K months inside a
Yeah.
coaching business. The easiest people that you can sell to through ads are people who already know who you are. And one key thing is that, first of all, people don't. So they run ads, and they run ads only to complete strangers. They use the term eyeballs. Oh, if only I had more eyeballs. But these are a bunch of eyeballs who have never seen your face before, your name, etc. There's maybe a little bit of work to be done on them. The crazy ROIs very often come from that sort of middle to bottom of the funnel, the people who already know who you are. They're already in the consideration phase as such. But the biggest way that people trip up with that, and I wish everybody knew this when going into ads, if they were testing out any type of advertising to people who already know who they are, is that your cost per lead will be higher. It will be higher than if you go to cold audiences. And the reason is because when you put ads in front of people who know who you are, it's going to be a much smaller audience than if you say, hey, Facebook,
Mm.
put this out in front of anybody that you choose out of this 92 million people group. And so when you put it in front of smaller audiences, Facebook charges more per 1,000 views. So people will very
Mm.
often compare warm to cold, and they'll say it's $1 a lead for cold and it's $2 a lead for warm. So I'm going to turn off the warm campaign. And they forget to look at money in versus money out from each of those campaigns individually. If people knew that going into running advertising in this way, having a cold campaign and a warm campaign, they would stop themselves from tripping up so often, because the amount of people that I've seen that turn off their warm ads because they say the lead cost was just too high, before actually looking at the fact that the warm campaign is bringing in a lot of the actual sales and the great ROIs.
Mhm.
It's a really big one. Sorry to take it off on a tangent there, but it was on my mind since you
Well,
said at the start.
I'm glad that you brought it up so we can dig a little deeper, because I dabbled with Facebook ads, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe. And the client I was working with just was not ready for they didn't want to have anything to do with social media. I learned about it, but then couldn't put it into action. didn't have, the client wasn't interested. But one, they have an 88 or almost a 90% reorder rate. And they've got 10,000 customers plus.
Wow.
And they've been in business for 40 years. And I was, can you use your customer list? This is where I'm trying to get to. Can you use your customer list of your paying customers to help you build an audience, and also to target them, as well as to build an audience that's like them? Because
Yeah.
most businesses say, "Oh, I know my customer." Most business owners really don't know their customers. They just
Mhm.
found the customer and they'll sell to anybody, and that's, over a period of years, and I'm talking not just about coaches, I'm talking about brick and mortar companies that I've worked with. They just sell to anybody, and then eventually they discover their niche, and that's where they go. But they're hesitant to use their customer list because they're afraid of privacy and things like that. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, well, logistically, there's two ways that you can target people who are your customers directly.
Mhm.
And then there's one way that you can create audiences that are akin to your buyers list. But there's
Mhm.
a little bit of detail I can throw in there as well. So, first of
Yeah.
all, with targeting people who already have bought from you, great strategy to bring them back and buy additional things. Absolutely phenomenal. And the two ways that you can build these audiences is either number one, you can upload your email list. Okay. So you can directly take your email list, you can upload that. Facebook will match it, will match the emails. They can't match everybody. It has to be the face
Right.
the email account that they use for Facebook or have done in the past, but they
Mhm.
match who they can, and then you have an audience. The second way, and this way is better, is that you can actually create audiences based upon URLs that people hit after they've purchased. So you can literally say, create an audience of anybody who's hit any page that contains this within the URL. And
Yeah.
you may have the URLs different for everybody, but inside a purchase, there's always order complete forward slash. So you can
Right.
say contains order complete. And it allows you to create from the last 180 days all of your buyers, or as many as Facebook can find, depending upon if they use cookie blockers and things. We can create an audience there and we can retarget to people as well. If you did both of those things, you'd find just about everybody. So
Uh-huh.
wherever there was gaps on each side. So that's targeting people who are already buyers. If we want to create an audience of people who look like them, it's called a lookalike audience. And you can
Mhm.
take either of those audiences I just suggested, and you can literally just select it, create lookalike audience, and you can say, I want you to find an audience in this location. So you choose a country, so United States, for instance. And I want you to find 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. It's your choice. You put the number in. But you could say, I want you to find the 1% of Americans that most resemble the people who are inside this buyer's list. And it will create
Mm.
that audience. And so they'll find patterns, and it might be age, gender, location, similar interests, different things like that, or how they bought and what they've bought in the past as well. That can be taken a little bit further, which is especially if this is like an e-com brand and they're using
Mhm.
Shopify or something like that.
Yeah.
If you've connected directly through Shopify, you can create audiences, not just of buyers, but you can say my top 20% of average order values. So you can get even more specific with not just finding people who look like my buyers, but people who look like my highest paying buyers as well, which is a great little hack.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose you could do that with your customer list by segmenting it before you uploaded it, if you wanted to get that granular
Yeah.
too. Yeah. And AI would help you do that.
Yeah, that would be
It,
pretty
it
quick.
pretty quick. Yeah. So you, in the opening, we mentioned the 255 method. What is it and how does it simplify ads, getting the results that you're looking for? What is its purpose and how does it help coaches get more leads?
It's really simple and it can be used on Facebook and Instagram ads, but it can also be used on just about any other ad platform as well. without it sounding geeky, it's a mathematical formula more than it is an ad strategy, if you will. Because
Uh-huh.
all we're doing is we're just giving Facebook plenty of chances to find winners. And then we're going to turn off the losers and all the budget's going to flow into the winners. So really simply, 2-5-5 method is 2 campaigns. So one for people who know who you are and one for people who don't know who you are. In each of those campaigns, there's 5 audiences each, right? So instead of just saying, hey, I know best, we say, I don't know best. Facebook, here's 5 different audiences to test on this one and 5 different audiences to test on this one. And
Mm.
inside each of those audiences is 5 adverts. And by the way, if that sounds like a lot, it's first of all not a lot at all, because it's going to be the same 5 ads that go to every single audience, but we have 5 ads that are attached to them essentially, which mathematically gives Facebook 50 chances to find a winning formula. Okay. So the way that
Mhm.
most people run ads in 2025, 2026, and so on is what I would call a 1-1-1 method, which is one campaign going to one audience and they create one ad. If you
Uh-huh.
do that, you have to hope that your ad copy is perfect, your image is perfect, the audience you chose is perfect, and even the campaign structure that you created at the first step is perfect as well. With the Shoney 255 method, we hope that every audience you chose was a winner. We hope that every ad that you created was a winner. But even if 40% of them didn't work, 40% of your audiences didn't work, 40% of your ads didn't work, we simply turn those off and all the budget flows into the winners. And that's how the Shoney 255 method works.
And how can someone get started with doing that method when they're cautious or they're budget conscious? How can you do that with $100 a day or $50 or $20 a day?
You
Or
can,
how does
yeah.
that, how is that, how can you do that?
So we typically get people to start at just 15, $20 per day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing, and I've seen it for years, well over a decade now, is people saying you need to spend thousands on Facebook ads to test and see what's going to work and all of those things, or you need to spend thousands to be able to get clients. That is just the absolute calling card of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing with ads. That's just like, if you're not willing to spend 10 grand, then at least it means I can blame it on you when it doesn't work, right? What we
Mm-hmm.
typically find is that with 15 to $20 a day of ad spend, Facebook is amazing at learning very quickly. So it very quickly starts to move budget in the direction of where results are occurring right away. So it's not a straight test with everything anyway. But we typically find within about 3 days, maybe 4 days, we have enough data to start making some small changes in terms of we can clearly see that audience just isn't clicking with this at all. Or that advert itself, that advert is in every single ad set, bringing in less leads or bringing in less clicks through to website. That advert is probably something that we can take out of this scenario. So you can already start making some changes there. So you don't have to spend thousands. You don't have to spend 100 per day even. You can spend 15 to $20 per day. And I always suggest to everybody, do not increase the budget because you're getting leads. Increase the budget once you've got an ROI.
Gotcha. So in the opening, we talked about adapting to your offer. And so how do we know the offer is working in the first place? Is it you use the 255 method to discover that as well? Or do you have to, some people don't, a lot of people that I know have customers because of word of mouth
Mm.
and referrals, and they really don't do any advertising. So someone who wants to say, yeah, I really want to start building this business and taking it from maybe a hobby to a full-time retirement business or something like that, and they really don't know what has worked. How do you test that out?
Ads is a great way to test it out because you can test out different messages in
Uh-huh.
one go and see which one clicks and which one doesn't. So it's actually a great place to test out different ways of framing who you work with or the result that you get for people using different language to see what really clicks with them. And when you find that winning formula, it can touch everything else. It can go into your website. It can go into your IG bio. It can go into your emails that you're writing. It can go into your social media posts because the
Yeah.
ads have shown you that this messaging performs better than this messaging when articulating who you help with and the result that you can create for them. So
Yeah.
it's one of the most important parts of the entire process is being able to be clear. When people send me ad copy or images and they say, can you audit this before it goes out? And I look at it, if it's too abstract, if I can't clearly say without much thinking exactly who you help and how you help them, the ad is not going to work. It's going to have a high cost per lead. The leads that come in are going to be, they might not show up to the call, or they might not take part in the challenge or whatever it is you're sending them to, because they're going to be less leads with lower intent. The place where you have more leads for the same ad spend and they all come in with higher intent and a higher likelihood of becoming clients is when you are crystal clear on who you help and the specific outcome that you provide for them. And do not get clever. Do not go to a thesaurus and try and use clever language. With Facebook ads, you have to know that people have very low amounts of patience. They're scrolling at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You need to be able to articulate real quick exactly who you work with and how you can help them, or where you're sending them, how that's going to help them towards that goal.
Yeah, and it used to take a lot of time to do that, but there are some great tools that you can use that are AI based that can really help you fine tune that messaging and test it out. Plus, you can always ask your existing customers,
Yeah,
why did you buy from me? What was it that I said that one of them said, when you said marketing, I said, oh, I need that. And because I suck at marketing. And I said, okay, what about marketing was it that because you're going to help me with marketing. Okay, let's get more. Let's get more. She's been a customer for a client for 10 years now. But the method you're talking about is obviously we need to iterate through it or rinse and repeat. But by using pretty much low budget, you can fine tune your ads so that they can return without. So every dollar you put in, you could get more than $1 back, and that's the whole idea. They used to call it arbitrage, but that's what that method is. So instead of spending once you get that thing dialed in, as long as you can deliver the service, the person who can spend the more is going to win.
that's it.
And you spend more so you can reap more and get more and help more people. What about, and I'm going off on tangents because I'm interested in these topics, but I know that they're relevant. Some ads are real like clickbaity and hypey, and they get the attention. Like I said at the beginning, that you're chasing attention because we know we got to grab the attention. But then once they get to your landing page or to your offer or to the next step, they get disappointed because you lied to them. What are your thoughts and what are your practices for remaining transparent and true and authentic on what you're promising and what's being delivered?
Yeah, we always talk about congruency between the ad and wherever you're sending them.
Yeah.
Number one, it shouldn't tell a different story from what you put on the ad. If the ad's going to be clickbait, you better be able to back it up on the other side,
Yeah.
or it's not going to turn into clients. I'm all for getting people from Facebook or Instagram to land on your website, but it doesn't interest me one bit if it isn't turning into leads and real sales. I mean, my whole thing has always been about like, with all the love in the world, and I put myself in this bucket, every single listener here, myself, and every single person I work with, none of us are Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So
Right.
we should not be running ads for straight up awareness or for brand. Every single dollar that we put into advertising should be with the goal of spitting out a higher return on the other side. And
Mhm.
so when I think about advertising, I think about that as soon as we get the attention of somebody, they have to go through a system that can turn a click into a client in under 7 days, even if they've never heard of you before. Now, some of them
Uh-huh.
will be capable of turning them into a client within 60 seconds if you're sending them to a place where they can buy something for $17. In
Yeah.
some cases, if you've got a more expensive product, that may be you send them to a lead magnet. They opt in, they give you name, email address, and phone number. On the thank you screen, you offer them the opportunity to book a call. They book a call, The call might not happen for 4 days. You have the call, maybe they don't buy. You send them an email after the call and they buy 2 days later. They bought within 6 days, but they were a stranger 6 days ago. So for me personally, that's the way that I look at advertising. In terms of staying authentic, I just don't think that anybody should be anything other than authentic when it comes to ads. And whenever somebody's ever come on board with me, I like to think that it attracts. So when you're a normal human being and you're not just, I don't advertise through pictures of Lamborghinis and things like that, like a lot of my competitors. So I think that attracts anyway. So I don't really have to deal with this. But I have a couple of times over the last decade called out people, especially in the business coaching space, when they've come to work with me and they've put obscene claims on landing pages. And I've had to call out, have you actually ever done that before? Have you done that? Never mind, have you done it for a client before? And when it's come back, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but I think you have to be able to back up everything through proof or one way or another.
Yeah. And you mentioned landing pages. And so we've got the 255 method. We've got a bunch of ads going to presumably a landing page of some sort. Do you need to have a separate landing page for each ad? I know that you don't want to send traffic to your homepage.
No, absolutely
which is absolutely stupid, and people do that.
Yeah, I literally was on a podcast a few hours ago, and you say, "So do you just send them to the website?" And I was like, "No, don't send them to the homepage." I was like, "You can send them to a website, but it needs to be to a page that's congruent with the ad and what you want them to do next. Ideally, with nothing at the top of the page that's a distraction."
Yeah.
In most cases, we're sending them to a page that's as simple as possible. If you want higher conversion rates on pages, most people think, what can I add to a page? But it's actually, what can I remove from this page? And that's usually your route to higher conversion rates. So if we're sending them to a page to take action, we want to keep it relatively short. If you're getting them to buy something immediately, so again, if you're selling something for $47, that can be a little bit longer form, and sometimes it does need to be, because people need the context for the purchase. But if you just want somebody to opt into your lead magnet or join your 5-day challenge or join your live masterclass, in that case, it's headline, subheadline, name, email address, phone number, button. Done. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You can use Facebook lead forms and skip a landing page completely, so that when somebody hits the button, it pops open a form that's already filled in with their details. There's pros and cons with that, though. You do get a lower lead cost, you get more leads, but they're typically lower intent because they haven't clicked through and consciously put their details in. You need to work out if that's going to be a better solution for you, or if it's actually going to be better to have higher cost per lead, but better quality on the landing page.
Yeah, I would think quality be more important.
Yeah.
Especially for coaches. You don't want to waste time on people that are just looking for something free. They have to have some skin in the game. Looking at your most successful recent coaching clients, what did they do differently with their ads that helped them just everything go bing, everything click now?
Yeah. A few of the things that you spoke about today, actually. So you were saying about, like, when you find a system, you need to be able to deliver it. So that might mean that you need to bring in the VA, the setter, the person to take the calls, whatever support you need there. The most successful clients I work with, they didn't do an ad strategy that's different from somebody that makes, again, 5 or 10K per month, right? They did the same strategy, but when it worked, they really put the foot on the gas. And when they hit roadblocks along the way, such as, I can't handle this amount of messages, they didn't go, so therefore I can't spend more. They went and found the person that could help them handle more messages.
Yeah.
And so they were just eliminating these roadblocks to scale along the way. So that's really as simple as it is. Once you've found the ad system for you, even the people that I've been working with for 3, 4, 5 years, they very often are still running the same ad strategy that we set up on week 1 of working together. The only thing we focus on is removing bottlenecks and keeping the ads rocking and rolling and scaling. That's it.
Yeah. So how has your own identity as a business owner shifted as you move from manual hands-on lead generation into building systems that still feel aligned, human, and trust-based.
How has it affected my identity?
Yeah.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? For
Yeah, well, when we're younger, we start out and we're trying to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the way, we get a little bit burned, a little bit singed, and we go, gosh, I don't want to do that again. And so we learn as we go, and we learn from our mistakes and hopefully from the mistakes of others. And we say, you know what? You got to this point. Maybe you've always been this trustworthy, upfront, authentic person from when you were a baby, but not all of us are. And somewhere along the way, you had an aha moment, and you said, "Oh, now I get it. I know how to systematize this thing. I know that I need more resources. I need to change the way I think about my business, the way I think about my time, the way I spend my time." There has to have been some sort of mindset shift for you.
Yeah, me getting into this space in the first instance was never a let's now start running ads for people or start teaching ads to people to make money. In the first instance,
Mhm.
I started Scotland's biggest ever health and fitness exhibition when I was 21.
Wow.
And I learned Facebook ads to literally save myself from going bankrupt at 21 years old because I had
Mm.
committed myself to hundreds of thousands of pounds at the time. So more hundreds of thousands of dollars in exchange rate.
Yeah.
And nothing was working. Social media wasn't working for me, email marketing, cold outreach, nothing was working for me. And I tested Facebook ads and they were very profitable. And then I just had this aha moment that if I spend more on the ads than I am right now, every time I make money, if I reinvest it back in, I can sell a lot of tickets. And we opened up to the first event with thousands of tickets sold. All the exhibition stands sold out. We scaled that for 4 years. And then I ultimately ended up selling that company to the country's biggest event organizer at the end
Oh,
of it.
wow.
And so me getting into ads was how you said that a lot of people run businesses at the start, which is word of mouth. And it just spread
Yeah.
that I had built this thing and I wasn't doing any traditional media that exhibitions usually do. So I wasn't doing TV ads, I wasn't doing radio, I wasn't doing buses and billboards and park benches and things like that. I was just running Facebook ads. And I never actually went in with I wonder if there's money to be made here if I start teaching this thing. It was literally one of the friends of one of my exhibitors that reached out to me and asked if I would take on his new gym that he was launching.
Oh,
And so I ended up taking that on and it was very successful. We spent 4,000 British pounds on ads and we returned 297,866 pounds of gym membership sales before the gym had even opened its doors.
wow.
And that just ended up in, again, lots of word of mouth. I wasn't even running ads for this business. It became oversubscribed through word of mouth. And to be honest, the biggest identity shift for me in terms of work and business came just by becoming a parent. That was it. Becoming a parent made me look at business in a completely different way, the time spent in a completely different way, my 24 hours in a completely different way, and being much higher intent with all the time that I spend, and also having better boundaries around
Uh-huh.
deliverables as well. Because you know what
Hmm.
it's like when you're in that position of, I just want to help everybody, like in any which way I can. You end up going so far outside of the parameters of your deliverables
Yeah.
very often. But when you become a parent, it's like if I don't go down at 5, I don't see the wee man before he goes to bed. And so
Yeah.
you have to put these things in place. So in terms of identity shift, I've probably had many across my time in business, but
Yeah.
probably the biggest identity shift was 2.5 years ago when my son was born.
Yeah. Is it mini Shoney?
Mini Shoney, Luca. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Great. And I love that. Yeah. Becoming a parent is a game changer. And some people can't handle it, but eventually you do. There's no manual, it's for
No.
sure. There's no manual. And we all make mistakes. But so we're starting to wrap up here. A couple of things. What are three things that our listeners can do today to start putting these ideas into action?
First of all, and you'd probably have got to this anyway, but I was going to give your listeners a freebie. And
Okay.
so probably the best thing here is like I said, I run a 3-hour workshop once a month, once every 2 months, depending upon if I'm traveling, where I literally just help people build ads for 3 hours straight. I've taken the recordings of the most recent one, broke it up into 5 videos for the 5 steps, and put it into a Kajabi portal. And your listeners can get access to it completely for free. Lifetime access so that they can see how to choose the strategy, like we talked about at the start. So we go through
Yeah.
some of the best working strategies right now so they can choose the right one. I go through who they work for, what price points, etc. Then we go through choosing your audiences. Then we go through choosing your images. Then we build the copy. And then we build the Shoney 255 method, 5 videos. So probably the most practical thing I could say about how they can take action, if you want to grab that, it's adsandfunnels.com/course. So ads, ADS, and AND, funnels,
Funnels?
FUNNELS.com/course. And you're literally going to have access to everything. I even have templates in there. So if you're like, I wouldn't know how to create ad images, they're Canva templates. If you don't know how to write ad copy, we've got ad copy templates inside a Google Doc for you. So you can get cracking.
Outstanding. And I would say take action today. Go ahead and get that. That's adsandfunnels.com/course. And was there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
I don't think so. But you covered so many bases.
Yeah, we did cover a lot. How do people connect with you? Can they reach you at adsandfunnels.com, or is there another way, maybe on LinkedIn? Or, of course, all your socials and everything will be published in the show notes. But is there anywhere else that you prefer to be contacted?
Probably on Instagram, just because I handle the messages there. So if you want to send me a message, I'll come straight back to you. It's Neil Shoney Ads. So it looks like Neil's Honey Ads, unfortunately, but it's actually Neil Shoney Ads. Yeah, so that's how it looks and how it's spelled. But send me a message there if you want to chat. And yeah, that's the best place to connect.
Oh, great. Then I just really enjoyed our conversation today, Neil. Thank you so much. And remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal to the metal. Until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyon and Neil Shoney MacLean. It's MacLean. Neil Shoney MacLean. Yes. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate you, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyon, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.